Laura here. I'm here today to do my top 6 Tuesday. The day got a little bit away from me today, and I'm also starting student teaching this week, and I'm not on my schedule, and I probably won't be on my schedule until after Teen Wolf is over, because Sundays is when I'm gonna make my videos, and right now, that night is all for Teen Wolf. So my top 10 Tuesday is gonna be a top 6 Tuesday, and hopefully next week I can get back to doing top 10, but thank you guys for your patience. So the theme I chose this week was top 6 books that I read a while ago that I still really enjoyed. There is like a couple other iterations, but since I started my blog this year, this is the one that I chose to do. As I'm reading these, I noticed these are a lot of fantasy books and a lot of psychological mysteries. That's what I read when I was younger or in like college, which is where most of these books came from. But the first book series that I would like to talk about is The Diviners by Liv. This book was a random library pick that I picked up. I really enjoyed it. I thought it had a really cool concept. It takes place in the 1920s, and there's some magic, and there's diviners, people that have certain supernatural abilities. And book one was really good, and then it took like 3 years to get book two, which is called Layer of Dreams, which I also really enjoyed. And book three, ironically, is coming out this month. But I really enjoyed this book, and I know that it had a lot of hype when it first started, but then that big delay really turned a few people off because we had to wait so long for book two. So say if you haven't read book one, it is a little bit hefty, but I thought the world building was done so well, and I really appreciated the lead character, and I really love book two, so I'll be curious to see what happens in book three. But if you missed it, I highly recommend you check out The Diviners by Liv Bray. The next book I'm going to talk about is actually a duo, but I'm going to talk about this one series and then the other. So the first series I'm going to talk about is the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Random audiobook pick actually from Overdrive. And it's the only book that is an audiobook. All the others I've run up reading, but it's about this girl named Cassie Hobbs who winds up learning that she has like the perfect ability to be a profiler for the FBI. She winds up getting sucked into this Quantico training program. And there's 4 books that deal with 4 different cases, and there's 4 other natural or like geniuses in a sense. There's another profile, there's a human lie detector, there's a girl that is like a human calculator, and then there's a person that can read emotions really, really well. And all those characters together are really, really interesting. Their dynamics are super interesting. The cases are super interesting, but the kids are the heart of this novel, and I love them all to death. Recently read the last book, Bad Blood, but I really would like to reread the whole series one day, back to back, because the world was so well crafted. I just think it needs to be like immediately read rather than like waiting years to read them. But I really, really enjoyed it, and I haven't heard many people talk about this. I've been trying to get people to read it. It's a slow process. I will make headway on that this year. But yeah, if you're looking for kind of like a psychological mystery, I would really check it out. But it's also super realistic, I think, and I really loved all the mysteries and how closely they were linked to the leads. But I really think that the strength of this book was the ensemble cast, and I really hope you'll check it out. The next series I'm going to talk about is also by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and it is the Fixer series. Is so underneath the radar. I think I'm the only person I know that has read it, but I really liked it. It basically follows this girl named Tess, I think her name is. Yeah, Tess. And she winds up getting shipped to her older sister's house, and she lives in Washington, D.C. And her job, unbeknownst to Tess, is that she is the political fixer, basically like Scandal's Olivia Pope. And Tess, in the first book, becomes a fixer for kids in her elite prep school. But when their 2 cases unexpectedly meet, they both have to do some really dodgy things to get to a resolution. This is only a 2 book series. The third book, from what I heard, did not get picked up, and I was really, really sad to hear that because I really enjoyed the series. I thought, again, Jennifer Lynn Barnes' mysteries are really, really well done, but I really, really loved Washington, D.C. as a backdrop, and I loved the ensemble cast. Again, I thought it was really, really well done, and I was so sad that we didn't get a book 3, but I really hope Jennifer Lynn Barnes writes more in the future, and hopefully her series get a little bit more traction because I really do love her writing, and I think that she writes really interesting cast of characters, and her books are definitely more of an ensemble cast books. All of her books definitely had more like elements of another like bigger cast sizes, and I really loved reading about them. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Fixer series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The next series I'm going to talk about is one that I read pretty much all through my college career, and that book series is by Stephen White. It's the Alan Gregory series. Before when I went to college from 2006 to 2010. That was when I graduated, and there really wasn't YA was not as popular then. We obviously had Twilight and stuff like that, but it really wasn't as popular then. So I really mostly through those years I read some hardcore fantasy books and then a lot of psychological thrillers. Wasn't until the tail end of my college career that really like YA really took off, but it wasn't as prevalent at the start of it. So I was a psych major when I was in college, and I really loved psychological mysteries, and that's where my love of this came. But Alan Gregory is this doctor. He's like actually a psychologist, and he winds up his cases wind up getting him thrown into all of these actual murder cases or like stalking cases, and it's just really well done. The books are written by an actual psychologist. The Stephen White is actually or was a practicing psychologist, so he used some of his tips and trades to like write these fantasy, write these mystery novels. I thought they were super well done. I I kind of tailed off at the end. I know that there is a conclusion to the series, and I just don't think I've read it. I don't remember when I ended, so I'd have to go back and read them. But yeah, so this is what I've been reading when I was in college. But yeah, if you're ever looking for kind of like a really quick and dirty but really good mystery series, I would highly recommend it. The next two series are also by Lynn Llewellyn, but I'll talk about Luck in the Shadows first. Friend Shannon watches these videos, but without her, I would not have known about this author. She was my college next door neighbor in college, and she said, "You have to read these books." And I read them, and they were spectacular. Still need to read the last book in the series, but I really loved it, and I think I'm just holding out hope that maybe she'll write more in this world. But I really, truly adore this world. I loved Alec and Sergil, and it was one of the first LGBTQ stories I ever read. I read like Simon versus the Homo sapien agenda much more recently, but this was like the first book I ever read. And their romance was like a non-issue in the story almost, and I really enjoyed that. And I thought that the world was spectacular, and I just loved all the intricate stuff that went on in the story. But I really just loved the main lead characters, and I just loved all the. It was just a very big cast of characters, but I really did love the world building. I thought it was spectacular. So I really recommend the series. It was so well done, and I really do need to get my butt on and read that last book. It will happen one day, I swear. And the last series that I'm going to talk about is also a series by Lynn Llewellyn, and that is the Bone Doll Twins series. Has a name. I think it's the Tamir trilogy. But this is another fantasy world series, and it's about this girl who to save her life she is sewn into the body or the skin of her dead twin brother so that she will not be seen as a threat to the throne. And it's this wild story to get there. I read it a while ago, but it was again really spectacular world building, really cool characters, and a very unique fantasy novel that I really had never read before. And I just really enjoyed it. It was very well done. I really should reread that series. I have to do a Lynn Llewellyn reread at some point recently. I'm realizing that needs to happen. But yeah, those are my top 6 for my top 10 Tuesday. Sorry guys, this week's just got a little bit away from me, and I really do want to do a top 5 Wednesday for you guys, so this will have to do for this week. But let me know in the comments what are some of older books that you still really look back on with fondness, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!